It's been a while since we talked about the missing or murdered UFO scientists and space experts that really were just kind of going super viral like a few weeks ago as, some people that were really having access to government secrets at the highest levels. There was talk that people had worked on secret space programs, anti-gravity research, even talk that maybe some recovered UFO materials might actually have been kept by the government and worked on by people with top secret security clearances. Well, unfortunately, some of those people have been going missing. Some of them have been found dead. A lot of very suspicious stories going on around them. And if you didn't follow that and you're finding out about this for the first time, I would recommend you go and check out this video that I did on my main channel, Trap Law Ross, where I basically broke down just the whole history of these UFO murders and what's going on with them, because it is really crazy. But unfortunately, one of the people that was actually covered in that video, a 53-year-old administrative assistant at the Los Alamos National Laboratory who disappeared in June 2025 and was kind of part of this whole wave of scientists who had gone missing. Her remains were tragically found by a hiker just a few days ago on May the 28th, 2026. But what's really bizarre about this is that I'm hearing people saying that the place her body was found was actually in an area that had previously been searched, and she had gone missing for a very, very long period of time. So I'm honestly treating this with skepticism, but let's go through the info.
Good evening, New Mexico. Thank you so much for joining us here at 10 o'clock. Well, an almost year-long missing persons case has been solved, but now there are plenty of new questions. New Mexico State Police found remains near Taos, and after an investigation, state police then determined they were the remains of missing Los Alamos National Laboratory worker Melissa Casias. NMSP says they found the remains of Casias in the McGaffey Ridge area of the Carson National Forest. That ridge is not too far away from where Casias was last seen. Investigators say a handgun was found next to her body. State police added, though, that the cause and the manner of her death are still under investigation. Now, last year, Casias' daughter came home from work on June 26th to find her mother was missing. She was last spotted on surveillance video that same day walking down a road in Taos County carrying a backpack. But she had, according to reports, left her purse and a phone at home, and that phone had also been factory reset. Now, finding Casias then became a topic of national discussion when the circumstances behind her disappearance started to match similar missing persons cases, including retired Air Force Major General William McCaslin, who went missing back in February. And then there's also Stephen Garcia. He was last seen in late August of last year. He worked at the Albuquerque branch of Kansas City National Security Campus. And then Anthony Chavez was retired when he disappeared in May of 2025. But he had also previously worked as a staffer over at Lanel, according to multiple reports. Police had previously stated that both McCaslin and Garcia are believed to have taken guns with them when they disappeared, but there have been relatively few updates since then on where they could be.
So Melissa Casias was unfortunately found dead, but here's the thing. There were some of those details weren't really making too much sense. And a lot of questions are now being raised about the circumstances the body was found in. They're saying that she was found with a handgun next to her, but apparently she didn't even own a gun.
Here's the problem. Her daughter says she didn't own a gun. Okay, well, maybe she got it just for this, and not everybody knows everything about their parents. Her family says her body was found in an area that was already searched. Now, if that is true, that is problematic because it goes to the timeline. Some background. June 26, 2025. Melissa drives herself and her husband to work at a government-run nuclear research lab in New Mexico. She said she'd pick him up later that morning. Never came back. Instead, Melissa drove back home almost an hour away and told her teenage daughter that she'd forgotten her work badge, so she decided to work from home. Unusual. Later that morning, Melissa dropped lunch off for her daughter at work, but when her daughter got home a few hours later, her mom's car was there, but her mother wasn't. Melissa's keys, purse, wallet, both her cell phones in the house. Unusual. Here's where it gets really unusual. The phones had both been factory reset. Is that something that someone who's suicidal would do? At 2:18 p.m., Melissa was seen on video walking alone on a highway close to home. She has not been seen since. Another man who previously worked at that same lab disappeared a month earlier. So is it just a coincidence, or is it connected? And is any of this bigger than just about the individuals involved, but what they were a part of?
It's a little bit scary. Those details are extremely chilling. So the family apparently spoke to the news after she went missing. And let's not forget, it's nearly a whole year ago that she went missing. It was June the 26th, 2025.
Well, Shelley, Doug, for weeks, the family has been through a roller coaster of tips, searches, and unanswered questions. Now, while it is a possibility Casias left on her own, some of her relatives tell us they don't believe that's the case.
Because we don't have answers, we can't draw any conclusions one way or the other.
June 26th is the last day Melissa Casias was seen or heard from. Jasmine and Trudy, Casias' niece and sister, told us what they remember. In the morning, Casias dropped off her husband at Los Alamos National Labs, where they both work. New Mexico State Police say she then went back home. Her daughter told investigators her mom said she may stay home and run errands.
At some point, she took a break and picked up Subway and dropped it off for her daughter, my cousin Sierra, at the coffee shop where she works in the Taos Plaza area.
This video is one of the last times Casias is seen. NMSP tells us the last place someone saw her was walking along State Road 518 in Talpa.
My cousin got home from work and found all of Melissa's belongings at home. Her purse, her phones, her car, her keys, everything was at home. Her phones were factory reset.
Since her disappearance, investigators say there have been 3 searches with the help of state, local, and federal resources. State police say they haven't ruled out foul play.
All of her friends keep telling us this is not like her.
Yeah.
First of all, she wouldn't leave her daughter. Absolutely, she loves, adores her daughter. She would not leave her.
The family adds Casias was planning to care for her mom for an upcoming surgery. So the idea of leaving on her own is something the two don't believe is the case.
No matter what, we need to find answers, and no matter what, we don't want to stop looking. And so I think regardless of what the situation is, if she left on her own or if there's foul play involved, we just want to find her.
That's her family pleading for information, all right? And that was about 10 months ago, all right? July 2025. So a month after her disappearance, this is what's crazy, okay? I didn't know this till recently. She was actually apparently spotted walking with a backpack on a highway.
It's been nearly a month since anyone has seen Melissa Casias. Her stepdaughter says a doorbell camera showed Casias walking a couple miles away with a backpack, and she was last seen walking on a highway in Taos County about a month ago. It was June 26th. A family friend even saw her walking along the highway. He turned around to see if she needed help, but then all he saw was a blue truck driving by. No Casias. Her family thinks she got into that truck. Her family says her personal belongings are all still at home, including her phone, which had been factory reset.
Really wasn't dressed for the mountains, and I mean, she has the gear, so, she would have definitely taken something like that.
Her parents and sister say they're offering a $5,000 reward for tips. Crime Stoppers is offering $2,500. If you know anything about where she is, call state police.
Like, it's just so confusing, right? Like, what do you mean she just left and then they think she was seen with a backpack? So none of her belongings were with her, but she was seen walking with a backpack and her phone was factory reset. It's really bizarre. So here's a detailed timeline of her experience, of her disappearance that was in NBC News, okay? Taos, New Mexico woman Melissa Casias last seen walking eastbound on a highway in Talpa, June the 26th. All of her belongings were in her home. She was apparently walking down the street. So there's an update. A hiker just discovered her remains in the McGaffey Ridge area of Carson National Forest. A handgun was located alongside the remains. She didn't have a handgun. They haven't got a cause or manner of death. This is really bizarre. So she's been missing nearly a year, okay, and the family doesn't understand why. That's really annoying. That keeps happening. I can't grasp it, her husband Mark Casias told Dateline. I don't know. I can't figure it out. Mark says the last time he saw his wife was around 6:15 that morning when she dropped him off at Los Alamos National Laboratory, LANL, a research lab in Los Alamos, New Mexico, where he and Melissa both work. She took me, dropped me off, and I told her I needed the car by around 11, he said. She said she'd have it back by 11 o'clock like she usually does. Mark says Melissa told him she was going to another location within Lanol to complete a task for work and drove away. That was pretty much the last I spoke to her that day. Mark told Dateline that there was nothing out of the ordinary about his interaction with his wife that morning, a moment he's replayed in his head for weeks. According to Mark, unbeknownst to him, Melissa returned home, back to their home that they shared with their daughter Sierra more than an hour away in Ranchos de Taos. Dateline spoke with Sierra, who said she woke up around 7:30 in the morning, heard the mum come into the house 15 minutes later. I was like, what are you doing here? Sierra remembered. She said that she'd forgotten her badge. Having no reason to question her mother, Sierra accepted that Melissa had simply forgotten the badge she needed to enter Lanol, and in retrospect, it's one of the most confusing details for Melissa's family as they try and piece together what happened that day. You've got to show your badge to get in, and it's always the driver, Mark told Dateline. She showed her badge. That's weird. Melissa told Sierra that she had decided to either work from home or call out for the day after arriving home that morning. Nothing was unusual, her behavior wasn't different, nothing that caught me off guard. Right when I was leaving, I always hug her bye, say I love you, all of that. We did that, that's normal. Sierra said she left for work shortly after the interaction, and then around 12:30 p.m., Melissa picked up a Subway sandwich for Sierra's lunch and dropped it off at the cafe where Sierra works in Taos Plaza, a business center in Taos. Sierra said the two briefly spoke and she handed her mother a check to drop off at the bank for her, and her mother left. An email on behalf of investigators, New Mexico State Police PIO Sergeant Ricardo Brasida confirmed to Dateline that the two spoke from 12:50 to 12:57. She may have been a little more quiet, but still nothing that caught me off guard, because if she's running errands, she'll just run in and out because I'm going to see her later, so I gave her my check. She dropped off my food, Sierra said. She said, love you, and walked out. Again, nothing weird. Nothing. Her demeanor wasn't out of the ordinary. Sierra hasn't seen her mother since that moment. This is so sad. When 11 a.m. passed and his wife hadn't returned with the car, Mark said he figured Melissa got busy at work until he got a call from her boss in the afternoon. She says, is Melissa okay? And I'm like, yeah, she should be at work, he recalled. And that's when she told me, well, she isn't at work. Mark said he tried to reach her after hearing from the boss, but was unable to do so. Sierra says she got a text from her father around 1:30 p.m. He was seeing if I was getting in contact with my mum. And I told him, yeah. So he had asked me, can you text her and ask her if I need a ride or if she's going to come pick me up? Sierra remembered. So I texted her. I just texted the screenshot to her and she had read it. And so I assumed that she was just going to call him or whatever that they do. And I didn't think. I paid no mind to it. The last known sighting of Melissa Casias was approximately 45 minutes later. On June 26, 2025, at around 2:18 p.m., a family acquaintance observed Melissa walking eastbound on NM 518 from the Talpa, New Mexico area towards Pot Creek, Sergeant Brasida wrote Dateline. The sighting, which was about 3 miles from the Casias home, was also captured on security video from a local business, Kit Carson Electric Company. She is observed walking eastbound on NM 518 and wearing the clothing that she was last reported wearing in the Taos Plaza, light color shirt, jeans, light tennis shoes. It's difficult to tell if she appears distressed. Melissa's family believes she might have gotten inside a vehicle shortly after she was seen on the video, which NMSP investigators describe as a possibility that's being investigated, according to Brasida. Around 2 p.m., while in the middle of a rush at work, she began getting calls from her father. I couldn't get to the phone for another 20 minutes, so it was 2:30 when I finally got to the phone. She said, I saw one of his voicemails. He sounded frantic, or just not frantic, but worried. Mark told Sierra he still hadn't heard from Melissa. Sierra then reached out to her mother again. I texted her. I was like, hey, Dad's freaking out. Like, why aren't you? Haven't you answered? My text, it didn't deliver. Wow, it didn't deliver. Worried, Sierra left work around 3:30 to go home. The door was locked. The car was home. I saw immediately that the keys and her work phone were on our kitchen table, she said. I just went and searched the house really quickly. While looking around the home, Sierra went into her mother's office. That's where I found her phone, her purse, her wallet, and all of her personal items. She said, I'd clicked on the phone and it showed like a factory reset. It had been wiped or whatever. That's when I got really, really worried. Sierra also found the check she had given her mother hours earlier to take to the bank. Sergeant Brasida confirmed to Dateline that all the belongings inside, including Melissa's purse and factory reset phones, were all found inside Melissa's home. Mark was dropped off at home by a co-worker shortly after Sierra got there. He reported Melissa missing at 5 p.m, according to Brasida. News about Melissa's disappearance quickly spread to the rest of the family. Melissa's niece, Jasmine McMillan, told Dateline that her family made the 2.5-hour drive from their home in Albuquerque to Ranchos de Taos as soon as they heard the news. We were all just kind of gathered out in the parking lot, racking our brains on what to do, Jasmine said. We immediately went into action mode. On Saturday, June 28th, Jasmine helped organize a search for Melissa using a hunting app in which hunters can mark the areas that they've covered. We created a map of the probable area where she might be based off where she was last seen, she said. And then we probably had 125 volunteers from the community come out. Melissa is an avid archer, according to her niece. Members of the archery community banded together to participate in the searches, a testament to the kind person she is, according to her niece. The community has really come together and it's been very supportive, Jasmine said. People have shown up searching for her from El Paso, Texas to Clovis from Colorado. Archery community is really huge and she's a big part of it. 4 days after she went missing, search dogs from Taos Search and Rescue searched the NM 518 from the intersection of NM 68 to 518 eastbound towards the intersection of NM 518 to FR 437. Brasida told Dateline. He also wrote that several agencies also searched an area of about 100 acres on July the 2nd. 3 days later, an estimated 283 acres of Carson National Forest, including river streams and both sides of NM 518, were also searched. Despite the efforts of her family, the NMSP Melissa has not been located. For the past few weeks, Mark and Sierra have gone through Melissa's documents and discovered that she might have been experiencing pressures they didn't know about. Through our own research, she was going through a huge amount of stress, Sierra told Dateline. There's a lot of crumbling down on her that we didn't know about. Still, it doesn't make sense to them why Melissa, who gave no signs of wanting to leave home, would disappear. There's no way she would just do this without telling me, Sierra said. Why wouldn't she just leave me a note? Why wouldn't she text me? Why wouldn't she tell me, even just like a hint? The family also had a lake trip scheduled for June 27th, the day after Melissa went missing. She knew I was super excited about it, Sierra said, so that made her excited. Jasmine McMillan said that her mother and her aunt also had plans to take care of their mother, who was getting knee replacement surgery a few days later. Melissa was planning on taking the day off work so that she could be there at the hospital. She said, my mum and Melissa were talking about how they were going to divide up care to take care of my grandma as she recovered. Melissa's husband says he is distraught at the thought that his wife may have been secretly in pain. I feel so bad I didn't recognize this, he said. She hides everything well. You know, she would smile. I mean, every day she smiles. Dateline asked NMSP if they believe that Melissa disappeared off her own volition. From the facts we gathered, it appears this may be the case, Sergeant Brasida responded on behalf of investigators. He also said foul play has not been ruled out, and the department is looking into every angle of this investigation. We've been conducting a follow-up on all the information received since the beginning of the investigation. It's been difficult filtering through rumors and identifying factual information. Brasida wrote, nobody's been cleared at this point. Melissa's family is concerned for her safety. Our biggest thing is her mental state, Sierra said. We have no idea what's going on. Sierra describes her mother lovingly and just wants her to come home. She has this very good aura. She's an emblem of a good person. And there she is there. I just can't believe this. Mark shared a similar sentiment for his wife of 20 years. She's the most wonderful person. She's always smiling, he said. She doesn't get angry. She's just like a lovable person. He wanted to share a message directly with Melissa in the event that she's reading this article. It's okay. We can solve any problem that, that might be there. We can solve it all. Just come back, he pleaded. Just communicate with us. And I'll go get you wherever you're at. I don't care if you're, across the world. I'll go get you and this too shall pass. Melissa is 5'4", approximately 115 pounds. She was last seen wearing a light-coloured shirt, jeans, light-coloured tennis shoes, brown hair, brown eyes, multiple tattoos, including a dragon on her ankle, a dream catcher on her left shoulder, and a bow and arrow on her left arm. Her family is offering a $5,000 reward for information that leads to her safe return. It's really sad and it's really confusing. I can't imagine what the husband's going through. So the Daily Mail will provide some more details about the gun and the situation where the body was found. So this is saying troubling new theories emerge after first missing scientist body is found, daughter's sensational handgun claim, and ex-FBI chief's urgent questions. The discovery of a nuclear lab worker's body nearly a year after she went missing has raised fresh questions in a mystery that has gripped America. Melissa Casias, who vanished without a trace on June 26, 2025, was discovered in the McGaffey Ridge area of Carson National Forest, about 6 miles from the last place she was seen walking before she was declared missing. New Mexico State Police said Casias' body was found alongside a handgun, but in a statement posted online last month, her daughter Sierra insisted the former Los Alamos employee did not own any guns. She could not legally purchase a firearm and did not have one. Every firearm in our home is owned and purchased by my father, and at no point did I ever see her carry a handgun or keep one in her vehicle. She spent the majority of her time working on Los Alamos National Laboratory property, where firearms are strictly prohibited. The discovery of Casias' body has added a new layer of intrigue to the case because the area where she was found had reportedly been searched previously and has been the site of an ongoing U.S. Forest Service restoration project since December 2025. It sounds like she was dumped there, to be honest with you. Chris Swecker, the former FBI assistant director in charge of the Bureau's Criminal Investigative Division, told the Daily Mail there's several critical questions investigators must now answer. The gun that was nearby, was it a gun owned by her? What was her cause of death? Those are the first things you have to establish. Was this a suicide or was this a crime? The New Mexico State Police told the Daily Mail investigators are still attempting to trace the gun's origins. Now, when someone gets shot up in the streets, don't seem to take them long to work out, oh, the gun was from here, the gun was from there, it was, oh, the serial number. I need to hear more information about that gun, and if we don't hear about it, that's going to make me look at the state and the government as what's going on. So, the Office of the Medical Examiner is still working to determine the cause and manner of death, which, again, you would have worked that out pretty quickly, all right? So this is where she was found, okay? And basically, they already checked. She didn't have a gun. It wasn't her gun, right? Doesn't add up. So Swecker added the discovery may deepen concerns about a growing list of scientists, nuclear workers, and national security personnel who have disappeared or died under unusual circumstances in recent years. A lot of people wanted to hush this under the rug, all right? People said I was spreading dangerous conspiracy theories for just even talking about this situation. But we have got zero answers on any of this. Everyone talking about, well, sometimes scientists die. What, like this? I have never, ever, ever heard of a situation where someone has gone missing and the phone's been factory reset. Ain't no way. The phone was reset before the authorities knew she was missing, so it ain't like, oh, she got sensitive secrets in her phone. Let's remotely wipe the phone from a distance to make sure nobody gets that. Nah. The phone was wiped before they even knew she was missing. Crazy. So Casias, a wife and mother from Ranchos de Terrace, worked as an administrative assistant at Los Alamos National Laboratory, the famed nuclear research facility that's been linked to America's weapons program since World War II. I'm thinking, honestly, I'm not thinking it's aliens. I'm thinking it's hostile foreign governments. I'm thinking Russia, Iran, honestly. So she was apparently an avid hunter and was photographed multiple times holding a rifle. However, the firearms she was seen carrying all belonged to her husband, as per her daughter's statement. Police have said the cause and manner of the death haven't been determined. She's been missing for 11 months before her body was found. The timing of her death hasn't been released, and this is very, very interesting. We heard from the David case, they done reverse engineered exactly when the murder happened, and the body had been decomposing for months. So that makes me wonder, what is the state of the body in, and what does it indicate about when she passed away? Has she been held captive for 11 months and then dumped in an area where they'd already searched? I could see hostile foreign government. They want to get nuclear secrets. They kidnap somebody that's close to the situation and torture them and try and get nuclear secrets out. That's just my opinion. That's just like a theory, my opinion. This is what's making sense. I ain't thinking this aliens, okay? I'm thinking this is Russia, Iran, China trying to find out what's going on with America's nuclear program, okay? Her remains are undergoing tests by the medical examiner. Authorities noted that a hiker found the body on May 28th, with investigators making a positive identification less than 2 days later. There's several ways to identify human remains. Visual identification is possible and easiest if the body is fresh and recently deceased. Other common methods include fingerprints, dental records, DNA testing, which can take anywhere from a few hours to several weeks, depending on the condition of the remains. I just really feel sorry for the family that have been in turmoil for months, probably hoping that she would turn up safe, and unfortunately, just to get this news is really sad. When asked whether the speed with which the positive ID came was surprising, Swecker said it was not entirely unusual, but if the body had really been in the forest for nearly a year, the harsh environment would have made identifying her extremely difficult by sight alone. We don't know what shape the body was in, but it could have easily been a visual identification. And this is, I haven't seen this before. They're saying this is a screenshot of her walking down a street with a backpack 3 miles from her home. The final image of her life. This is really disturbing. Want to know what outfit she was found in? I want to know what outfit she was found in. She's gone 11 months. Where was she for 11 months? What was she wearing when she was found? Was it this outfit? This is crazy. Okay. So Swecker noted the area's animals and predators, as well as the region's climate, humidity, and temperature would have worked against preserving her body for more than a few weeks. Most of New Mexico and Carson National Forest is known for its populations of black bears, mountain lions, bobcats, and coyotes, animals that may have found and consumed a body if it had been there for nearly a year, and they searched the area. Sounds like she has been held captive and dumped. According to Trauma Services, a professional biohazard remediation company, human bodies go through 5 basic stages of decomposition, mostly within the first 2 to 3 weeks after a death. After just 10 to 25 days, most of the body mass is broken down, the bones, dried tissues, and residual fluids are all that's left, and the rate of decay slows. If she had been dead in Carson National Forest for several months, the crime scene experts noted only skeletal remains would have been discovered. Okay? She was last seen walking alone in New Mexico. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. Okay. Casias' family revealed she left her home on foot without her work or personal phones, her ID, which police said raised immediate concerns. She was last seen walking alone. She'd been dropped off. We kind of know a lot of all this stuff, right? Just really sad. Just doesn't make any sense. Does not make any sense. How on earth is this possible? So the woman's family and private investigators have disputed how much access Casias had to really classified data, claiming that the LANL employee lost her security clearance due to financial troubles that she and her husband were having. That's crazy. So they're saying that apparently if you're in financial troubles, you're going to lose your security clearance, because they basically believe that, like, if you so press for cash, you might sell the government's national security clearance information to the highest bidder. So they're saying that she lost her clearance due to financial troubles, but that doesn't mean that someone from the outside might think she does have access to the secrets and try and get it out of her. Swecker said the presence of a gun at the scene after her unusual behavior suggested a possible self-incident, but cautioned it was too early to rule out foul play. Bro, this is clearly foul play. Given the publicity in the case, there are investigations looking for some evidence of a crime. Swecker revealed them to the multiple scientists and lab workers and retired Air Force general who all died or disappeared under mysterious circumstances. He referred to all of those. He told the Daily Mail he feared the growing list of names may be tied to a plot carried out by a hostile foreign intelligence service against US researchers and workers connected to advanced technology. It's terrorism, right? Because if they do this to a bunch of people and all the other nuclear workers that are really important are scared, that is terrorism. They're terrorizing them. They are living in terror of carrying out their job, which is to protect the US government, their secrets, the nuclear operations that are going on. So I could believe that. That's what I think is happening. Garcia's disappearance and death was one of several to take place in New Mexico, alongside the disappearances of Anthony Chavez, a former LANL employee, government contractor Stephen Garcia, who worked at the Albuquerque facility for the Kansas City National Security Campus and Nuclear Weapons Lab. I think there's enough of a pattern, even if it's a small group. I think there's a smaller group of missing people that warrant an investigation by the FBI, which is the lead agency in counter-espionage and counterintelligence. I would be looking for that unless we show something points to another direction. Very interesting, okay? But according to an ex-FBI worker, which makes me think the FBI might be in on this is just a mental health crisis. Nothing to see here.
When you look at this, the fact she left everything behind, her purse, her identification, and last seen over 8 miles walking from her place, this seems to me a person that was struggling and had a mental situation she was dealing with.
How was her body found so far away then? I mean, that seems to indicate somebody else was involved somehow.
Well, she was seen walking on the road all by herself, and she did some errands before she left. She went and she picked up lunch for her daughter, and then she delivered that lunch at 1. And then shortly after 1, she texted her husband and said, listen, you're going to need to find a way home. And then about 45 minutes after that, that's when she was actually seen walking all by herself on this remote road. It was only 8 miles. She's an avid hunter. She's used to walking.
All right, so the family said in a statement that the area where she was found had been previously searched. Her body seems to have been found along a popular, if secluded, trail. Is there foul play here? Did somebody kidnap her, abduct her, kill her?
I don't think this is foul play. This so falls in line with other situations we see like this. When people are really struggling with a situation, they just want to walk off and go off by themselves. And unfortunately, it is so difficult to find people in the wilderness, no matter how many dogs you have. Look at Brian Laundrie, 5 weeks with.
You mean to tell me she just walked off because she was depressed into the wilderness for 11 months and found a gun? Absolute cap. Okay, absolute cap. What person suffering from an abrupt mental illness out of nowhere decides to factory reset both of their phones and then go off hiking with a handgun? This is not a mental problem. More red flags. Mystery is not solved. See, this is the thing. I feel like the fact they trotting someone out on the FBI to do this as a cover up. It's like, oh, so maybe the FBI are involved in this. Oh, okay. She was murdered, right? The woman being interviewed is manipulating perception deliberately. Shady, right? That's what they're paid to do. They're out there lying. So now, here's the thing. I'm going to give you the best reason Here's why the government are actually quite happy to gaslight you and convince you that to not believe your eyes and ears, and that this is something other than foul play. The most likely scenario is that this is, let's just say the Russian government, because that's the government probably I personally dislike the most. Let's say it's the Russian government, right? They're pissed off that America basically is back to Ukraine, and Ukraine is basically, prevented Russia just taking over the country and put them in this like very expensive and embarrassing stalemate. Okay. Russia want to know about what's going on with America's nuclear secrets. Maybe they send people to come and kidnap somebody. Wouldn't be the first time that Russian agents have gone to a foreign country and caused, harm, death, absolute carnage. You might not be aware of this case, right? The poisoning of Sergei and Yulia Skripal, basically a failed assassination attempt. Russian military officer and double agent basically had, left Russia, and he'd settled down in the UK. And then basically Russia had sent agents to try and attempt to murder this guy and his daughter, I believe. And essentially they came to the country, and it's not the first time. There was poisoning of other British nationals. Okay, other people were poisoned, other people have been hurt. British authorities identified 2 Russian agents as the Russian military officers in intelligence who actually did this, and it would not surprise me if they've got people like this in America right now. All right? There's other GRU officers, right? This is basically the General Staff of the Armed Forces of the Russian Federation, right? Intelligence Directorate. They have agents all over the world causing carnage, and they're trying to kill people. They're trying to kidnap people. It happens. It's not a secret. This is exactly what happens, okay? So here's why they're trotting people out and lying to you in front of everybody, okay? So the reason why you've got this clown on here talking about, no, can't possibly be foul play, because the UK government was such bitches about this. This is an attack. This is a deadly attack on foreign soil from Russia. This should trigger NATO's Article 5, and you should be in World War III. The UK should have been declaring war on Russia because this happened. You can't do that, all right? And if America went and did that to Russia, all right, might be World War III, unless Russia's some bitches. Because what the countries do is they say, rather than being forced into a fight, right, somebody has come out on the world stage and disrespected you, and really the protocol says you should clap back and start World War III. Maybe I'm not suggesting you should, like, that's a good thing, but what I'm saying is this is a deadly attack on British soil in this case, all right? England should be clapping back, but instead of actually, instead of actually clapping back and proportionally retaliating against the use of chemical weapons on British soil by a foreign hostile government, okay, it's a nerve agent attack on your soil. These are war crimes, bro. These aren't even allowed. Like, these types of weapons are not even allowed, right? They didn't do shit. Okay, they didn't do shit. Okay. NATO expressed deep concern. They wanted Russia to fully disclose its research of the... They're never going to do that. You guys were attacked, and you should have been kicking off and clapping back. They expelled diplomats. They didn't do shit. Here's why. Because they don't want to do World War III, because they're pussy, right? And that's why you've got FBI agents like this hopping on public record to lie to the public, because they want everybody to calm down. Because if it came out, yeah, you know what? Actually, 2 Russian GRU agents that look like these Donnies here. Where was the main guy? There was this third guy. Was present in the UK. Like, one of these type guys or whatever, any one of these type of Russian agent officer guys kidnapped a woman and tortured her and held her captive for 11 months to try and get secrets. All right. That's an act of war. How dare you? How on earth are we not at all out war with Russia when if you're sending agents to come and kidnap our nuclear researchers, our our UFO experts, anti-gravity, all of this stuff? They can't possibly admit it because it looks too embarrassing. And really, as a nation with this much power, there should be actually proportional retaliation for this. There should be get back, if that is what this is. And I'm not seeing a very reasonable explanation otherwise. But now what's happening is, if that is the case, and the US government actually have intelligence that suggests a hostile foreign government is responsible for this, they want to suppress that because they don't want that being out there, because they're embarrassed, and they basically don't want the world to know that they just got egg on their face and the Russians did something despicable to an American citizen. So that's just a theory. Okay, that's why somebody might hop on the news and try and lie and cover this up. You're thinking, why on earth would someone from the American government, from the FBI, from the American, the official branches of power in the government want to sweep this under the rug? Well, that's why I just told you. So this is a really interesting case. I will keep you guys updated when I hear more information. If I find out about these alleged, cause of death, not alleged cause of death because unfortunately she did pass away, but what the cause of death is, how long she had been deceased for, what the origin of that gun is, I'll be sure to let you guys know. But I think this is very, 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 very suspicious, and I want to know what's really going on, and I don't think the government are going to let any, I think this is going to be hush-hush, and I actually think we might not hear about this again for a while unless we go digging, but I will dig into it for you guys. So let me know what you thought of that video. I'll be back with more videos soon. I'm scheduling out a few videos, having a couple days off here and there, so might not be flooding the market with the content like you're used to, but anyway, I hope you enjoy these updates, and I will have some very exciting stuff for you guys very soon. Thank you so much for your support. Definitely feeling a bit burnt out at the moment, so I need to just rehabilitate soon. But thank you for your support, everyone. Super grateful. Thank you. I'll catch you guys next video. I'm out. Peace.